And welcome to Waverley on a cool and windy night for the last round in the round-robin series of the Ansett Australia Cup for 2000. Out come the Hawks with a proud record in this competition and absolutely determined to keep it going. They are the reigning champions in the Ansett Cup, and they are desperate to try and get into the semi-finals because their chances are still alive if they can win here tonight against Essendon. Led out by Shane Crawford, the Brownlow medalist from last year. 6 goals he kicked last week. And the Bombers too have a very proud record here. They won the competition 3 times in the 90s, and they've won their first 2 matches this year. So the Bombers are on track to make the semi-finals, and this should be a ripping game. Both clubs at full strength. They've picked the best possible lineups they could. Drew Morford and Jared Healy with you. It should be a beauty, Jared.
It should be, Drew. Tough conditions, very blustery. Let's hope it doesn't knock the standard of the game. Will make big marking difficult. But we saw both sides last week. They're in good form, and the Hawks are really building a side that most people think will challenge for the 8 and the Coca-Cola series this year. The Bombers, well, they're just about everybody's flag favourite at the moment.
Yeah, I'll say. Well, it blew the golf ball around in the Masters today. It might blow the football around in the Ansett Cup tonight. Let's have a look at the Group 4 ladder, and Essendon and Hawthorn are on top. The Bulldogs and the West Coast can't make the semi-finals. They've completed their program. If Essendon win tonight, they'll be through with 3 out of 3 in the 3 round-robin games. But the Hawks can make it, but they need to beat the Bombers by at least 10 points tonight to make up the percentage difference. So it'll be right on for young and old, right down to the wire. There's certainly no doubt about that. Well, the Hawks have a new coach. Peter Schwab returns to his old home, and here he is with a former teammate, Dipper.
Yeah, good on you, Drew. Catching up with Peter Schwab. Peter, Hawthorn must be going to this game with a lot of confidence after a great win last week.
Yeah, we played well, Rob, so if we can recapture that form, we'll be okay.
You had a couple of wild cards last week in Shane Crawford playing up forward, and also Mark Graham. Do we expect them to be up there?
Well, look, probably Mark will play there. What we do with Shane, I think we'll try and play him on the ball a little bit. But, look, they've both shown they can kick goals, so, you know, we need to kick goals, so they'll probably at some stage be there.
Well, Lloyd's back in the Essendon side. I thought young Rawlings did a terrific job last week. Will he get the first crack at him, as they say?
Yeah, he'll get the job. I mean, I think he's a different player to Cummings, but Jay did really well last week, and if he applies himself, you know, just spoil when he can, and, you know, he's on a quality player, so hopefully he can do a good job for us.
And the middle, I mean, I think tonight's game is certainly going to be one in the middle, like in most football games are, but Essendon in the middle are very, very strong.
Yeah, they're excellent last week. I think their clearances were 3 times the Bulldogs, who are usually pretty good. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll need to win a fair share of our contests there.
Well, we're looking forward to this game, and Drew, back to you, buddy.
Thanks, Dipper. Let's have a look at the lineup. Well, Hawthorn missing last year's leading goal kicker, Aaron Lord, and also Barry Young suspended this week, and he misses the chance to play against his old side.
Yes, and we know that the Hawks have got a couple of very good key defenders, as we heard the coach saying, Jade Rawlings. Trent Croad also going well. But it's those keys up forward, Drew, that will make the difference for the Hawks this year. Nathan Thompson looking a star. Dixon comes back into the side, and he's a damaging left-footed. But Mark Graham was a special last week, floating around that half-forward line. Generally a defender. Under Peter Schwab, he's turned him into a forward. And as you said, the Brownlow medalist kicked the bag as well.
Well, the Bombers, they're missing James Hird, announced as captain this week. Hopefully he'll be right to play next week if the Bombers make the semis, and also Scott Lucas out. But the rest of them are just about all there.
And the key to the Bombers, I think, this season is just their flexibility. We know they've got a couple of stars out in Lucas and Hird, but Barnard's a defender who's been playing forward with success. Dustin Fletcher has been released with the great form of Aaron Henneman, and he may well become a tallish forward. Alessio gives him mobility and allows Barnes to do the ruck work. And Dean Wallace, not only is he starring in the Docklands of the Colonial Stadium adverts, he's also pretty flexible out on the ground.
And he's probably still trying to get over that run down the middle of the MCG in the preliminary final when he ran into Fraser Brown. He's had the whole summer to think about it, so I think he'll be red hot to have a great game here tonight. What a game this should be. The start not far away. Big Johnny Barnes back home.
On 7 News, an Adelaide train driver's harrowing story.
I sat on a syringe.
Victim of a cruel prank.
Purposely placed into somebody.
He's now worried he could get AIDS.
It's always in my mind.
A special report on 7 News Monday night.
This month at Trustgods, get a price reduction and at the same time, bag a bonus. TAG 6-head stereo VCRs, $30 off and bag a bonus. NEC 68cm AV stereo TVs, $20 off and bag a bonus. Sony digital zoom camcorders, save $50 and bag a bonus. Sony 200-watt 50 CD systems, $129 off and bag a bonus. Trustgod Hi-Fi, Adelaide's lowest prices with up to 24 months interest-free terms.
Big brands, big bulk buying, big savings at Mannix. Save now with super summer deals on Fujitsu fully ducted reverse cycle air conditioners and get a big 12 months interest free.
Get a Fujitsu air conditioner like I did.
Mannix Air Conditioning.
If you're planning a wedding, book your formal wear this month at Ferrari's, and regardless of the wedding date, you can hire from just $49 per outfit. That's a saving of $41. But hurry, it's for bookings made this month only at Ferrari Formal Wear.
On Today Tonight, SA's Pig Stink City.
Quite revolting. Really obnoxious.
Nauseating.
So bad, neighbours trapped inside, some even leaving town.
People get upset when their lifestyle is threatened.
6:30 Monday.
And welcome back to Waverley. What a game this should be. Well, Essendon and Hawthorn have had some great tilts at each other during the 80s, and it carries into the new century. Here's Dipper down on the boundary line.
Yeah, thanks very much. But the bad news for Hawthorn is Nick Holland is out of the side, and we're just catching up with Nick. The reason why, Nick?
Yeah, just a bit of a sore groin, Dipper. I should be right for next week, but they just didn't want to take the risk tonight.
Did you have any opportunity about playing at all?
Yeah, there was sort of a chance that I could play, but I would have been playing a bit of catch-up, so they said have this week off and you'll be right for next week.
It'll be tough conditions out here tonight, boys. Very blustery conditions, and I assume Johnny Barker will be taking over your spot at centre-half forward.
Yeah, John Barker's in at centre-half forward, and we'll probably have you know, a few tools up there. The wind conditions are very hard. You're just noticing them kicking for goal, and they're really allowing for the cross breeze, aiming at the left post, hoping that the wind would drag it back right.
Well, thanks for joining us, mate, and good luck, and hopefully see you back next week. And as Nick mentioned, it is very blustery out here. Looking forward to a terrific Hawthorn-Essendon game. And I wouldn't be surprised, Jared, to see Shane Crawford start on the ball.
Well, he was up forward last week, Dipper, and he did it terrifically well. And just looking at these wind conditions as we welcome you, KB, the tools often struggle when it's so blustery.
Well, sometimes it can. It depends how good you are, Jared. Last year, Paul Salmon actually won the Michael Tuck medal for best player in the Ansett Cup Grand Final. So it just depends how good you are. But one thing we know about both these sides, the Bombers have been great performers in the Ansett Cup. Hawthorn are defending champions. And this game has got some sting to it because, as the graphic showed us before, that if the Hawks can win by 10 points or more, well, they can actually go through to the finals. And there's been a lot of talk the round robin hasn't suited everyone, but this game certainly has some sting on it.
Sure has. That breeze is blowing from the outer side straight across the ground towards the commentary position. So top to bottom of screen as you watch it. Cross breeze. At this stage, it doesn't look as though it's favouring either end. Players rugging up in the interchange dugout.
Well, I've got the Essendon bench, boys, while we wait. Alessio Wallace, Jacobs Blumfield coming back for his first game, McVeigh, and a tough nut Hardwick. Unusual to see him on the bench.
Just goes to show how strong they are. Looking forward to seeing young Johnson in the middle, who's really taken all before him as a ruck rover.
Umpire Hanley gets us underway. Paul Salmon goes up in ruck, but it comes to Johnson, who bursts out of the middle, drives it long towards full forward for the Bombers. Oh, what a defensive mark. Absolute cracking mark taken back in defence by Jade Rawlings. And they're away and running. Barlow out towards half-back flank, rushing up towards the wing. Denham, he was out, the ball was in. Back towards the attacking 50, Lloyd in front. Spoil comes from behind. Solomon finds a bit of space. John Barnes. I don't know who he aimed that at. There was nobody there for the Bombers. And Barlow just inside the boundary line. He's able to keep the ball in. And the Hawks clear the 50 and the ball out towards the boundary line, but stays in. So Essendon doing all the early attacking. And terrific football setting up just outside the 50. Blake Carosella with the mark. Too far out to score. Although from that side, he's got a bit of a tail breeze. Across he comes. Rioli. Now it's all Hawthorn. Salmon doing a bit of roving.
The big fish from the half-back flank, kicks a high ball out towards the wing. He was looking for Barker. Punch back over the line. Well, Jared, you mentioned before about Dustin Fletcher, where he might line up. Started full forward.
Well, it's going to be a joy, I think, if you're a Bomber supporter, to wonder where half a dozen of the players are going to turn up each week. Aaron Henneman, he is a real star in the making, number 3 at fullback, and we know Dustin Fletcher can hold down that position as well as anybody. They've also introduced young Mark Johnson, who's an exceptional player, and Jason Johnson got the first kick, another good midfielder.
And you just mentioned him, and here's Lloyd's going to kick the first goal.
Han Solo. Who's your daddy, Mama? Let's get it on.
Hello? Dal, if you weren't into it, you should have just said so.
Lamb chop.
Matthew Lloyd gets the first goal of the night. It was a couple of years ago against Hawthorn. He kicked 10 in an Ansett Cup game. Breaking out of the centre is Heffernan. Inside the 50. Excellent mark. Chapman. Yes, the mark paid. Originally, we were told Chapman wasn't in the lineup, but eventually he was a last-minute inclusion for the draft pick, Brett Johnson.
And it's an important time in Nathan Chapman's career. He's had a long career at Brisbane. Had a couple of good years there, but didn't quite settle down and make his full career there. And he's got another opportunity over the last couple of seasons at the Hawks.
That's into the wind, kicking out towards the outer side. Ball's picked up by Harford. Very high kick, wobbling around in the breeze. But it's well marked up forward, and it's got to come back to Barker, who's told to get back behind the mark. Not really sure why. Umpire John Harvey. Kick by Barker. Towards the attacking side of the ground now for the Hawks. Rushing towards the boundary line, Heffernan, and out it goes.
We see Crawford.
And on the bench for the Hawks, Dipper.
Yes, we see Farrell, Crummell, Dixon, Tallis, Albertson, Bateman, and Crawford is on the ball with Heffernan tagging him.
Well, you've given big raps to Henneman, Jared. It'll be tested tonight against Nathan Thompson, who looks to be a star of the future. Joel Smith was caught with the ball taken by Denham. Backtracks to Mercedes, so the old firm work it across. Johnson got the ball out wide, taken by Barlow. It was a poor kick, a short kick, but luck's of fortune. Playing in front is Joel Smith, in front of Solomon.
We saw last week that he assumed a midfield role. Very creative he was.
There's that lead, and there's that man, Nathan Thompson. Kicked 6 goals in the last game against Sydney. He looked fantastic that particular day, changing from full forward and in the ruck. He was also outstanding against the West Coast Eagles. So young Henneman, he'll be tested tonight.
If there's any advantage of the breeze here, boys, it is with Essendon. Maybe 2 or 3 goal breeze, a very blustery one. It'd be a great kick if Tomo could get this through the goals for the Hawks.
Well, he's kicking from just inside 50. The distance is there. Not the accuracy.
Well, the Hawks supporters, I just love coming out to Waverley. They've come out in good numbers tonight. Up against the live TV gate. Goes to Johnson. Down the outer boundary line on the bounce towards Caracella. Great hands, Blake Caracella. To Denham. Denham up towards half forward. Michael Long, brilliant to Rioli. That is fantastic stuff. On the bounce to Lloyd. He's on the 50. Rioli followed up, and a hurried snap for goal. Hooks it, and it brings up a behind.
Well, the windy conditions are almost a thing of the past, with Colonial Stadium coming on board, KB, and the great amphitheatre, which is the MCG, the Gabba development, Sydney. Not a lot of wind effect there. And I suppose that there's only a couple of grounds with Football Park and Subiaco getting a bit of wind.
So we've done away with the mud, the rain, and the wind.
And soon the rain.
Yes, and Colin suggests Colonial will be closed most of the time. Chance for Crode from the half-back line. One of their young guns up to the half-forward line. Target was down there. Couldn't take away with the ball. Was very strong player as well. That was Leckers. But here we see the ball now coming back. We'll go to Johnson, who's had a lot of the ball in this first quarter. Lloyd's going to be the target. The big fist away came from Jade Rawlings. The clever tap was from Michael Long. Taylor, hard worker, pumps the ball wide. Chance for Mark Johnson. Traps it. Inside 50, it's one for the high flyers. Big fist away that time by Chapman, doing the rovings. Mercedes, a ball-winning machine. Again, tapped on by Mercury, taken by Lloyd, rockets the ball out to Denham. From 45 metres out, Denham to the pocket. Barnes there. Couldn't quite keep it in play and through for a behind. Here's Pryor. Very late by Shane Crawford. And high.
So the Bombers leading by 7 points. Rawlings kicks in for the Hawks, looking for Salmon, but Rioli gets there in front. And what a revelation he was last year after being elevated off the rookie list. 50-metre penalty. Is it against Chapman over the mark? And Rioli now will be kicking from just about the edge of the goal square.
And it was a poor kick too there from Dean Rioli, which may well have been turned over. So this is a special, real bonus for the Hawks. And John Harvey has got himself into the action pretty early.
So Nathan Chapman goes back to stand the mark as Rioli's about to kick it over his head for the Bombers' second goal. Kicked 4 goals last week. And that's his first for the night.
Sorry, mate.
Bombers by 13 points. Dean Rioli doesn't look all that fit, Jared, but obviously he's got great reflexes and he keeps winning the ball and he's a very accurate kick. Doesn't always look to be in the peak of condition. Salmon was clever play to Graham, so the Hawks come forward. Here's Thompson in front, Henneman to beat. He'll force this over the line. Seven in reserves games last year for Henneman as Kevin Sheedy looks on. Pryor, the designated kicker. It's been a real spare parts man, Michael Pryor. Pumps the ball wide. High flyer was Graham, big fist away by Johnson. Denham tried to trap it, still inside 50. Johnson to Mercedes, they share the ball around. Comes to Wellman, the All-Australian goes very short. Finds Jason Johnson, goes through the centre square. Big bomb, backing back. This is good play by Rawlings. Just couldn't quite hang on to the share. And here's Crode, a real dasher. Played for the Vicks last year. Jared Healy was a huge rap for Trent Crode. Now the free kick is downfield.
And
Thompson
played for Australia.
And played for Australia as well. Gaelic footy. So good, we even grabbed one of their rules. Heffernan. Short kick. Still a chance for the Hawks. They force the error. Tony Woods from 50. Big bomb. It's missed. Just.
Looked certainly off the boot, didn't it?
Yeah, as it lost a bit of speed, the wind really started to take an impact. As you have a look at the crowd, and it's a pretty healthy crowd for a Sunday evening here at Waverley.
Bit of a different setup tonight for the Hawks. Last week they scored 14 goals before the opposition got their first goal. And tonight the Hawks are still looking for their first, and the Bombers have got 2. Oh, good mark by Thompson.
And a bit of a different setup for the West Coast Eagles last night, Drew.
Haven't the form been topsy-turvy? Out towards the pocket. Well, it's a beautifully delivered kick, but tough part of the ground to be kicking at goal for John Barker. Into the breeze from this side. Johnny Barker, who played just 6 games in the seniors last year. Go back way back to '94 as a Norwich Rising Star nominee. It's a tough kick, about 47 metres from goal. Beautiful looking drop punt. Gee, that's a good kick. Just offline, but you can hardly kick it better from there.
Well, he played very well against the West Coast. He came off the bench, and even though the West Coast weren't very competitive, John Barker did play very well. So he just might see the best of him this year. Fitzroy, and then with Brisbane, and picked up by the Hawks. Mercury.
With Dustin Fletcher, Drew, who started up around that centre-half forward position as another 50 is imposed. And Fletcher picked up Trent Crowe and then immediately just dropped straight back. And Trent Crowe, we know, is such a good player across the half-back line, is going to have to combat this for most of his career with forwards taking him deep out of the way.
Mercury coming off his best ever season last year, goes short, finds Barnard. From the edge of the centre square, drills it. Blake Caracella is a goal kicker, a clever player, pops the ball high. Fletcher takes the front position. Great grab. Coming over is Ramanauskas.
And this is what's so impressive about some of the recruits for the Bombers. They all take good marks overhead. You see here often two of the tall players wrestle with each other and give you an opportunity to come across the top or come across the front. And the Bombers seem to have generally these kids that can do it exceptionally well.
A couple of games last year, won their best and fairest in the reserves. Ramanauskas from 35 metres out, directly in front. Nails it.
Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. What you say? Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. Don't you come back no more. Don't you come back no more. Don't you come.
Wonderful start here by the Bombers in their attempt to keep Hawthorn out of the equation and advance to the semi-finals, winning 3 out of 3. Johnson's been in absolutely everything at the start, Jason Johnson, but this time they've lost it. Bit of volleyball there between Woods and Bowyer. Again turned over. Free kick was going to be paid. Advantage to Johnson. He's deep inside the 50. Ball beautifully knocked down to Crode. The knock came from Barlow. Crode has tucked the ball under his armpit a couple of times and had a run. Great football. Big punch down by Johnson. Mark Johnson comes to Barnard. Another whistle on the play. And this time the umpire's stopping it. And it's coming right back. An Essendon free kick. The umpire must have ruled there was no advantage. And it's coming back to Solomon. Dean Solomon, who was suspended in the Ansett Cup last year, but managed 19 games in the seniors.
It's a great kick.
Isn't it a Butler? Heffernan takes the mark. Chris Heffernan up towards the 50. Long lead by Lloyd. Didn't quite get there. The ball was chopped off in front. Outstanding, the Johnsons. This is Mark Johnson. Oh, that is a mark. Oh, play on, says the umpire. Rioli comes back with a hand pass. Mercury the paddle to Lloyd. Lloyd goes! Gee, I wanted a mark or a free kick in the forward pocket.
Well, you nearly got one, but I thought Michael Colliker was pretty stiff not to get a free kick down here on the forward flank when Matthew Lloyd came through and cleaned him up very late in the piece. If they're going to be consistent, that certainly was a free kick.
Showed a lot of courage, Colliker. Really back.
Yep.
But wasn't paid the free kick. Caracella thought he had that mark. I'm not quite certain. I think the big fish got there. Made it a real collision. But they did get the crumb. Matthew Lloyd with 2 goals. He has booted 10 in the Ansett Cup. Here's Mercedes. The Bombers strong in the midfield, playing in front. Rioli had the ball thumped away that time by Chapman. Going to ground was Ramanauskas. He's already kicked a goal. Rioli just burst himself through. Got the ball back out towards Michael Long. Hard up on the boundary line for a toss back in. He's hard to shove and move off his line, Dean Rioli. Let's have a look here. Crashed into his back. And he showed a lot of courage, Colliker, because he had to back. Woods to Bowyer. Interception there by Heffernan. It was clever play. Sets it up. Here's Ramanauskas. Runs into the open goal. He's got it.
I think she asked me out on a date. Monday night. Think you can be adventurous? Sure. Everyone's going a little further than ever before. Wouldn't kiss it, miss it. All new alley, Monday.
An outstanding young recruit. I'll tell you what, KB, you try and fit James Hird and Scott Lucas into this team. Wouldn't you love that as a coach?
Yes, Jared just mentioned, put James Hird and Scott Lucas into this side. It's a very potent forward line.
Frightening, isn't it?
James Hird may finish in the back line.
Two-fister out of the middle by Barnes. Here goes Johnson again. A monster kick from 65. Lloyd in the goal square. He's got another one.
It's too easy out of the middle at the moment. I'd like to know what the centre clearances are for Essendon.
Well, Jason Johnson has been killing him out in the centre square.
And what a start Matthew Lloyd is making. He kicked 87 goals last year in the day competition, which was the most by an Essendon player since Jeff Blethen kicked a ton in 1972. And he's hooked that one too far. Give a bloke a rap and he lets you down, but he was wide out.
I reckon that kick would have made Peter Sumich feel a little bit better. Because many years ago it was Peter Sumich that had a boomerang from about exactly the same position, 1990, in a
against Collingwood.
Against the Pies, and the Pies went on to win the flag.
Well, Matthew Lloyd last year kicked the most goals in a game by an individual.